Yo, 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 it's your boy Westhetech here to bring you another one of my personal favorite tech tips to help you as an artist grow in your craft. Now, today we're going to go over how to register your song with BMI, all right? So if you're a recording artist who just finished your song and you're looking into releasing your song, but you want to make sure that you get it all set up with your performing rights organization or PRO, and you've already signed up with BMI and you just want to know exactly how to actually enter in the information into the BMI for your music, then this is the video for you. Because in this video, I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to actually go about doing that, all right? So first and foremost, if you haven't registered with BMI yet, you want to go ahead and click on this video on how to actually register for BMI. And the reason I say that is because you can't do these two steps in the same day, because once you register it, it's gonna take a couple of days for it to process, all right? For them to approve it and everything like that. Once you go through that process of actually creating the BMI account and actually having that account fully set up, then you could go ahead and start registering your works or your songs, all right? But like I said, it takes a couple of days to do that. So if you haven't actually created a BMI account yet, you want to again click on that video, all right? I'll leave it in the descriptions below, which is another video I basically did on how to actually register for BMI itself, how to create an account, all right? But if you've already done that, then you're good to go when it comes to this step, all right? So it's a pretty long process, all right? So make sure you got some time, all right? It's not complicated or anything like that. It's just a lot of things that you have to fill out, all right? So I'm gonna just jump right into it. The first thing you wanna go ahead and do is, of course, you know, like I say with a lot of these tutorials, you wanna definitely do it on a desktop because it's just so much easier to do it on a desktop. Now, of course, you can do it on your mobile phone. That's perfectly fine as well. You know, it's a little bit more difficult to do it because you're dealing with a smaller screen. But for the purpose of the tutorial, I'm going to do it on a desktop. All right. So first and foremost, you want to go ahead and go to BMI.com. All right. And then once you're at BMI.com, you want to go ahead and log in. All right. Once you log in, you want to go to the left-hand side where it shows you all the different options you could choose from. And you want to go ahead and click on works registration, all right? Once you click on works registration, it's then gonna bring you to another screen, all right? And on the screen, I'm gonna want you to go ahead and click on add new work, which is the green button all the way to the top right, all right? Once you go ahead and click on add new work, it's gonna basically bring you to the page that you want to be at to actually register your work, all right? So you're going to be on the first step, which is work info page, all right? It should show you your name, your full government name, because when it comes to creating your BMI account, you want to use your government name. It should already show you your full government name there, all right? And then it's going to give you an option to pick either classical or all other genres. For this, you want to go ahead and pick all other genres because classical is really for, you know, orchestra, live performances, things like that, theater and things like that. If you're just doing a song that you know, streaming on all platforms, it's all other genres, all right? So from that point, you want to go ahead and click next, all right? As soon as you click next, a window should pop up and it's gonna ask you to enter in the work title. Now the work title is basically the name of the song, all right? So, well, I usually put the work title as the name of the song, and I think you should do it as well because that's the easiest way to identify it, all right? So you wanna go ahead and put the name of the song under the work title. Then you wanna also go ahead and put in the duration. Now this is optional, but I like to do it just in case, all right? And the duration is the actual length of the song. However long the song is, you could always check that, you know, with the actual MP3 file, all right? Then you want to go ahead and under the work contents, you want to go ahead and select music and lyrics, all right? Because your song has both music and lyrics. If it's just a beat, like if you're a producer registering your beat, then you would just hit music only, all right? But if it's a full song, you want to go ahead and hit music and lyrics, all right? Then once you do that, you want to select the language of the song if it is in English, all right? Once you do that, you want to go ahead and click next. Once you hit next, it should bring you to step 2 of the process, which is the other works page, all right? Now, from this page, it's going to ask you these 2 questions right here. You want to click no for public domain arrangements, and you want to also click no for if your work contains samples, all right? Now, if you did add samples to your music, like let's say you got a sample online or something like that, then you got to get the approval of that sample. Even if you enter in all the correct information on that, you got to get the approval. If you don't, it's going to get denied. But in most cases, most people don't use samples anyway. So you want to go ahead and click no for both of these and hit next. All right. Once you hit next, it should then bring you to the third step of the process. All right. And the third step is the publisher and writer's page. This is the page that we're going to be spending most of the time. All right. So the first thing it's going to ask you right off bat is, do you have a publisher? All right. What you want to do is you want to go ahead and click no if you don't have a publisher or a publishing company. All right. I.e., for those of you guys who are independent artists, you probably don't have a publishing company. All right. For those of you who are signed or something like that, you probably do have one. So if you're an independent artist like me and you haven't actually set up a publishing company yet, which you actually really don't even have to, but if you don't have it, you want to go ahead and click no on that. All right. So once you click no, you hit next. All right. The moment you click next, another window is going to pop up. All right. And the first thing they're going to ask you to do is either pick a writer or enter in a name. You want to go ahead and pick a writer because you want to enter in your name first. So when you hit pick a writer, your name should come up with your actual BMI ID number. All right. And you click on that. All right. Once you click on that, you then want to go ahead and select the role that you have for the song. All right. So if you recorded your vocals on there and everything like that, then you're the composer and the author. All right. Meaning that you wrote your verse and you actually recorded your verse. So you're part of the composer and you're the writer as well. All right. Now, the next thing you want to go ahead and enter in is the writer share points. All right. But I'm going to go ahead and stop you there. All right. Because I have to explain a little bit how the writer share points work. All right. When it comes to, percentages of music and everything like that, in the music industry, they don't use percentages. They use points. All right. And as you know, percentages is based off of 100, 1 through 100. Well, when it comes to the point system, it's actually based off of 200. All right. So from 1 to 200. Now, there's so much I could go over when it comes to, the proper amount of points that everybody should get and all of those different things. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to keep it simple. All right. If you're an independent artist, it's either one of two things. It's either A, you did the song, you did the recordings, and you did the beat. All right. Like myself, I do my own beats and I record all my own beats. Or two, you bought a beat online or something like that, or you're using somebody else's beat and you made the song with your writing and your vocals. All right. It's one or the other. All right. So if you're an artist who actually used the beat online, let's say you purchased your beat on BeatStars or something like that. All right. Those beats are all a 50-50 share. All right. Meaning that you get 50% as the artist and they give 50% as the producer. All right. So when you're talking about the percentages as far as the points, it's going to be 100 points for you and 100 points for the producer. All right. Which equals out to, again, 200. All right. So what you want to do is, if this is your case, which is going to be the case for most people, you want to go ahead and, again, pick your name. All right. Pick your role as the composer and the author, and you want to put 100. Once you put 100, you want to put add writer. From the once you hit add writer, it's going to pull up another writer's window. All right. And then from here, you're going to want to actually put in the name of the producer. All right. If you bought this beat, you should have a leasing agreement. All right. That usually comes with every BeatStar purchase. You get this little paper that shows you the full agreement. All right. You want to go ahead and find that agreement and find the full name of the beat maker, because that's what you're going to have to enter right here where I put John Smith. All right. You're going to have to enter in that actual beat maker's name. Now, on the leasing agreement, it may also say what PRO he's affiliated with. All right. He or she is affiliated with. You want to go ahead and enter that in as well. If you don't know, just put NA like I put here. All right. Then you want to put the 100 points for the producer, because like I said, when you're doing agreements with beat makers and things like that, especially beat makers online, it's a 50-50 share. So it's 100 for you and 100 for them. And then you would hit next. All right. Now, if you're in the case like me where you did everything literally completely by yourself, then you put 200. All right. You put your name and you put 200. And then once you do that, you hit next. Either way, what should happen is once you put in all that information, it should bring you to this screen right here. And this screen should show everybody who's involved in the song. and then it should show the percentage at 200, all right? Now, of course, if you have any features on the song, that's somebody else that you have to put, all right? So, if you have a feature on the song, then you're gonna be looking at 50 for you, 50 for the other feature, and 100 for the beat maker, because the beat maker is getting 50% of the song total. So if you have another feature on the song, you're gonna have to split your share with that feature. If you have multiple features, then it's even smaller. You get what I'm saying? But whichever the case, you want to make sure that all of these points add up to 200 at the end of the day, all right? Because that's the only way that you're going to be able to continue it, and that's how this process works, all right? It's based off of a 200-point system, all right? But either way, once you got all of that figured out, all right, you want to go ahead and hit next. If you have any additional questions on that, don't worry. I'm going to make another video soon on exactly how splits work between producers, publishers, writers, artists, and all of those different things. So that is coming soon. But as of right now, if you have any questions in regards to that, please leave comments in the comment section below, and I can help you, because a lot of times it's a case-by-case scenario. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you have a band. How do you split that? Let's say you have, 3 artists and 2 producers worked. How do you split that? It could get complicated for each song, all right? So if you have a specific situation, comment me on the comment sections below, and I'll be glad to help you out, all right? But either way, like I said, for the basic, typical independent artist, it's just 50-50 between you and the producer, all right? Equals out to 200, then you hit next, all right? Once you hit next, all right, it should then bring you to basically the next step, which is step 4, which is the artist and recording page. All right. Now it's gonna ask you a couple questions. You want to hit yes as far as, are there any artists on the music? Of course there is. You're one of them. All right. Then you want to go ahead and hit yes. Are there any recordings? Of course there is, because you recorded on a beat. Yes, there is going to be recordings. Now, the third question is like, if the work is created for film, television, theater, broadcast, and things of that nature, all right? Now, for this, you're actually going to put no. That doesn't mean that this song can't end up on TV or end up on a show or end up in movies or anything like that. It's that this song isn't intended specifically for that, all right? Of course, there are music that's specifically made for, TV and things like that, like an intro music to a show. That was specifically made just as an intro song to a show. It's not an actual song. So in those cases, you would put yes. But in most cases, for most artists, independent artists, you want to put no for this, all right? Once you hit no, you want to go ahead and click next, all right? Once you click next, a window is going to come up, and it's going to ask for the actual artist name, all right, or band, all right? So in my case, my artist name is just one word, so I just put it under the last name, Connect, right there, all right? Now, if you're a band, you would do the same. You would just put it on the last name. If you're one of those artists who might have 2 names, then you might have to put the first name, like let's say you're Kid Cudi. You want to put Cudi here, and then you want to put Kid over there. Kid under first name and Cudi under last name, all right? This is basically the artist name of the song, all right? Once you enter in that artist name, you want to go ahead and click next, all right? Once you click next, they're then going to ask you to actually select the type of recording that it is, all right? Now, when you hit that drop down, you're going to get the 3 options, whether it's a single, an EP, or an album, all right? So if this is just one song, of course, you're just going to put single. Of course, if it's something else like an album or EP, you would then put that there, all right? Then you would want to enter in the name of the actual song, all right? What is the name of the song? Once you enter in the name of the song, for my case, the name of the song is Breadwinner, all right? It's actually a song that's coming soon. All right, then you want to go ahead and put in the release date of the song, all right? And once you put in the release date of the song, so what's cool about this is if you already released it, you can still do this, and you can also do it before. So you just want to make sure you do it as soon as you possibly can, all right? So you put in the release date of the song, all right? And then they're going to finally ask you, is this song released under a label, all right? As an independent artist, you're probably going to put no for this. Unless you're an independent artist who's already created your own record label, then you would put yes, and you would have to enter in the record label's information, all right? No, but for, again, most cases, there's going to be a no for this, then you click next, all right? Once you click next, it'll bring you back to the summary page for this section, all right? And then you just click next again on the bottom right-hand corner, all right? Once you go ahead and do that, it's going to bring you to the final step, which is page 5, the summary page. All right, and the summary page is just going to show everything that you entered in. So here you want to take the time to just double check everything, make sure that everything is right, make sure there isn't any mistakes or any typos or anything like that. And while you do that, you scroll down to the bottom. Once you've checked everything, you scroll down to the bottom. There's going to be this red box right here. You want to basically check the box to accept the terms and conditions. All right. Once you check this box, you want to go ahead and click submit. All right. Once you hit submit, this window is going to come up. And basically, like, I don't know why they do this, but it's kind of scary. It's like, are you sure? Are you sure you're ready to submit? Yes, you are ready to submit. All right, you hit yes. I guess it's just a double check thing. You hit yes, and then once you hit yes, you're then gonna get this box that basically is submitted. All right. Now, of course, the submission process is just like when you're first creating an account. It's gonna take a couple of days for it to be approved, your submission to be approved. All right. Then you just hit that button, return to the work process page, all right, or the process work page. All right. But that's pretty much it, all right? That's how you do the process. Now, of course, you got to do that for every single that you release. You want to make sure you remember to do that for every song that you release, all right? You want to make sure you do this for your EPs, for your albums, for everything. This is something that you absolutely have to do for every piece of work that you release, all right? I usually do it before I even release the song so I don't forget about it, all right? But if you do it after, that's perfectly fine as well. You just want to make sure you do this so you don't miss out on the royalties that you will gain for your music being played in the different areas that PROs or performance rights organizations collect, all right? But either way, that's the process. I hope you are able to follow it easily, all right? If you have any additional questions on anything, of course, like I said earlier, you can leave it on the comment section below. You can contact me directly, whatever, I'm always free to help, all right? Of course, you could follow me at any one of my handles, all right? Or contact me on any one of them, Instagram, Google, whatever. Just Google Westhetech, and I should pop up if you have any additional questions or if you need more help with this. But hopefully this video was able to help you get through that entire process, all right? But if you have any questions on this or anything else related to music, all right, music industry tips, creating music, whatever, I'm your man. I'm here to help you, all right? I'm here to empower independent recording artists just like you to get to where you want to be when it comes to your music, all right? But either way, I hope this helped. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.